But don't extend yourself too far. Stay in the present with the game and allow whatever information comes to you to be what information you need at that moment. And play it well. Play well with the information you have. Play well as the piece you already are. Learn that. Master that piece. And you will have mastered the entire game. Because as many of you who play chess know, it doesn't really matter what piece you may be playing. Be it the king and the queen, or the rook and the bishop and the knight and all the pawns. You know that even a pawn can win the whole game with the right strategic move. So it doesn't matter what piece you are playing. If you play it well and master that piece, and look at the whole picture of the game and see how that piece fits in whatever game is representative of your relevant path, you will know that any piece that you happen to be is capable of winning the game. And you don't necessarily have to strive to be anything more than you are. Now, conversely, in the idea that a pawn can actually win a game, you can understand holographically that each piece actually has the capability to some extent to enclose and contain and represent the abilities of all the other pieces, at least where it counts, in terms of the idea of whatever the final configuration is of that particular game you are playing within the overall game. So never discount the piece, never think less of a pawn. A pawn can also function like a king in the right circumstances of the game. Allow yourself to see the whole picture. Using this idea, this chess analogy, for all these different levels of consciousness, in creating the player in the higher mind, the game board in the template level reality, the collective rules of the game in the collective consciousness agreements, the individual rules of the piece in the individual agreements relevant to the collective consciousness, and in understanding the physical piece itself that you have chosen to be, and mastering the play of that piece, then you can play game after game after game with each and every new opportunity that comes up. You can look at it as a whole game, the game of your entire life, and you can look at it as games within the game, in different scenarios, different moments, mini games within the overall game. And you can divide that up however you wish, to whatever extent you wish. In any different scenario, in every different circumstance, you can create a mini game of chess for yourself and play it out by mastering the piece that you are in that game. And in essence, you can actually change the pieces that you are from game to game, even though you might have an overall piece for your entire life. You have that degree of flexibility in your free will, in your creative being. You can actually be many different pieces in the mini games within the overall game, even though you might be one kind or two kinds of pieces for the entire game of your life. So be flexible in your imagination with this and use this analogy to your benefit in that way. One of the reasons we are now utilizing this particular analogy of all these different levels of consciousness is to give you an analogy you are somewhat familiar with, to anchor these different levels of consciousness, the oversoul, the individual soul / spirit, the higher mind, the template level reality, the collective consciousness, the individual agreements, and the physical persona. To anchor this chess game analogy to those concepts so that you can create a little bit more of a visual representation, a little bit more of a grounded, as you say, down-to-earth representation. And what would really be a good exercise to go along with this would to actually be to lay out a chessboard, to lay out the pieces, and even to play a game with someone, and in playing that game, really understand, really begin to feel all the different layers behind you, above you, that are creating this whole scenario, all the way up to the oversoul that is playing many games at once, to the individual soul that has chosen to play chess in this way, to the higher mind that has chosen to be the chess player, the strategist, to the actual template reality game board you see before you that is being created as your blueprint to play this game out as you play on the field of life, the board of life. to the idea of the general rules that you understand for playing the whole game, to the idea of the specific rules you understand for playing your particular pieces one at a time as you play the game and each of the rules that go with them, and to the physicalness of each piece, the size, the shape, the weight, the color, the material, how it feels in your hand when you move it, how it relates to the other pieces, not only your own, but also the other players. And to use this analogy when you are playing the game as an exercise, as a meditation, in a sense, to lock you in, to anchor you into these different levels of your consciousness, so that by doing so physically, by playing the actual physical game of chess, you will actually strengthen the bonds between all these different levels. You will start to equalize the frequencies, in a sense, or allow the frequency thresholds at each level to match more cleanly, more closely, to align more closely, so that there's greater communication up and down the line, from the oversoul all the way down through to the physical personality, and from the physical personality all the way back up to the oversoul. So that thus then, as you play this physical game of chess, literally, you are also strengthening your ability to see your position in the game of life, and strengthening your ability to use your talents and express yourself strategically, efficiently, in a relevant way, in relation to all other pieces, in a way that works best for you and works best for all the other pieces as well, in playing out certain games. Use this analogy in this way, and you will begin to really see that you are capable of expanding your senses in a variety of ways. It may begin, as you play the game of chess, with an ability to start seeing more moves ahead, as you develop more of a skill at looking at a multitude of parallel reality probabilities all at once. But as you develop that, as you begin to master that ability, you will see that that will start to leak, because you know of the connections through the idea of the levels of consciousness. It will start to leak and rub off on those different levels, back up the line in such a way as to allow you the opportunity to experience the same kind of foresight, the same kind of expanded view that the higher mind has in playing this game, in your life, in all your endeavors. Looking moves ahead, seeing all the juxtapositions and all the different relationships, and what the different ideas and outcomes and results can be from all those different probabilities, so that it can act as a guide for you and allow you to know specifically, more easily, what represents your preferred vibration, what does not, so that you can truly begin to play the game of life in a very masterful, easy, effortless, joyful, creative, expansive way, even as you ponder each move, and allow yourself to remain in the present totally with that move, so that you're truly relishing all the different ideas of what that one move can do, of what that one piece is capable of. And as you do that, you will cherish yourself. You will appreciate yourself. You will understand what you truly are at your core. And you can let drop away all the things that are not relevant to the true game you are playing, so that you can recognize the difference between the game that you have truly chosen to play and all the other games that may be crowding in that don't really belong on this board at this time. Be they chess, be they checkers, be they cards, be they anything else. Allow yourself to begin to recognize, by using this analogy and by playing that game, what is germane and relevant just for that game, and what does not need to be on the board. You will simplify not only the game, you will simplify and speed up and accelerate your ability to go through the game that much more efficiently, that much more quickly, and get on to the next game, and the next, and the next, and the next within the overall game of your life. And this again will leak into your true life and allow you to operate more efficiently, more cleanly, in an accelerated way, knowing exactly what to do, when to do it, understanding the moves, understanding the consequences of those moves, understanding how everything is interconnected in that way as one game. You'll start to see, in a sense, with X-ray vision, the idea of the multitude of probable realities that are open and available to you to become different versions of yourself as you shift from parallel world to parallel world, from game to game to game. And the whole game will start to change, even as the mini-games change within it. And you can shift more radically, more drastically, more smoothly, more efficiently, more completely. So, we offer you this opportunity of using this analogy to allow it to be something that will help you align in a variety of ways, to focus you and yet expand you, seeing the big picture, all the probabilities, at the same time that you are understanding each individual move, to work in that holographic, coherent, and cohesive way in your life. Let it leak in. Now, if you decide that you wish another analogy, by all means allow your imagination to be your guide. You can start with the idea of checkers. You can start with the idea of cards. You can start with the idea of dominoes. You can start with the idea of Chinese checkers. You can start with the idea of Go. You can start with the idea of Mahjong, or any of your games. It doesn't really much matter. We have chosen the analogy of chess because of its precision and because of the ability of the different pieces to be strongly representative of many of the different traits that actually exist within some of the choices that you make. The different levels, the different classifications of ideas, of playing pieces, and what they are capable of doing, and how they are capable of moving, and how they are viewed in relation to the other pieces. Chess, in many ways, has many different kinds of complex interactive probabilities. And we have chosen it for that reason because, in many ways, it is highly representative of the same degree of relevant complexities, shall we say, and richness of texture that exist in the choices that you give yourself in physical reality. And so it is a very workable analogy for that purpose, and has direct correlation and connection to many of the different levels that we have talked about in the idea of your consciousness that is relevant for how you create and experience your physical reality. But use what you wish. It's up to you. While at the same time, if you can learn to master chess using this analogy, it will be a little bit more of a refined and a little bit more of a precise way of connecting to some of those levels than checkers might be or cards might be. It's up to you, though, because you can use your imagination to find the richness and complexity that is required to make the analogous connections to the different levels of consciousness as it relates to the game that you have chosen. It is up to you. But the higher mind is the game player. The physical mind is the playing piece. But that doesn't mean in the negative context that you are the higher mind's pawn, except in the idea we have already shared with you that a pawn can also contain the power of a king. And it is up to you to allow yourself to know that that power is there, and to choose the succession of parallel reality games, whatever piece you choose to be, that allows you to find that ability to be at exactly the right position, the right place, the right time, to be played in the correct way, to demonstrate that any piece on the board can win the game. Find that power. Be that piece. Master that game. And play. Play freely. Expand your ability to play, to see more than one game at once, and to choose which you prefer. As we thus then proceed later in our live interactions with you, keep this analogy in mind. Whatever dialogues, whatever questions and answers we discuss, keep this analogy in mind. Allow yourself to apply this concept to the questions you may have or the things you may wish to share, so as to bring clarity and to bring connection to those different levels of consciousness in these dialogues, to help propel you forward and expand your senses and give you more of an ability, more of a skill to become a chess master and understand all the rules of the game very clearly within yourself, so that you will know what game you are playing and what game you truly prefer to play. And you will learn the difference. we will extend to you at this time our deepest appreciation for allowing us to share this concept with you. More of this concept will come out in the dialogues we will have in the live interaction. But for now, we wish to aid and assist you by letting this concept sink in, by imagining now, if you will, for a moment, this chessboard with its 64 alternating squares, and imagine, if you will, the playing pieces on that board, and understand that these playing pieces are made out of your energy. They are you. And allow yourself to examine from both sides all the playing pieces facing each other, the white and the black, whatever the opposite color may be. Start looking at both sides of the game, because only by understanding the other side as well will you be able to play your best game. You cannot really win by playing against the other side. But you will win when you learn how to play in alignment with the moves that the other side is making, in such a way, like what you call a martial art, that you match that energy, match that movement, match that frequency so precisely, so perfectly, so masterfully, that it requires hardly any effort at all to position your piece in the winning position. It's really learning about who the other player is and what all the other pieces are attempting to do that allows you to play your best game. Even though in some senses on Earth, as you do these things, it may seem to be adversarial, you may think of the other player as an opponent, but they are not. They're another aspect of you. And the pieces that are facing you, coming toward you, coming your way across the board from the other side, in many ways are your pieces too. Polarity is also expressed in this game. And it is very, very wise and very efficient way to play the game of chess to fully understand exactly all the probabilities of the other pieces coming toward you as well. For only understanding the polarity, only fully understanding the potential of all the pieces on the other side, their perspective, their point of view, that they also bring to the game, that both of you, in a sense, can win. And this is another type of chess altogether. A fifth-dimensional type of chess, where every player actually wins simultaneously. There is a way to actually play the game that way, with that outcome. And we will get into that another time. But keep that in mind. For it's a total game, and all the pieces are reflections. And you are simply playing yourself. We thank you for allowing us to share this idea with you. And we will continue this analogy to whatever degree is appropriate and relevant in our exchanges upcoming in this transmission this day of your time. You may thus then enjoy a short break, and we will connect with you in what you call live fashion in moments.
A real good day to you this day of your time. Now, how are you all? Great. Once again, allow us to thank each and every one of you for co-creating this interaction this day of your time. each and every time, each and every one of the individuals on your planet allow such a co-creation to exist. Through you, we get to experience that many more facets of creation, and we thank you for the gift of our understanding of how creation can expand in a multitude of ways. We would like to begin this transmission, this day of your time, with the following idea. We have from time to time now discussed with many of you the notion that in this time of transition, it is very much like you are, both metaphorically and we know sometimes seemingly literally, going through the eye of a needle, where things become very highly intensified. And the idea, as we have discussed from time to time, is to understand that the only way to pass through the eye of the needle, being so very small, is to let go of those things that don't belong to you, to stop carrying the extra baggage of belief systems and definitions that have nothing to do with you, that have nothing to do with your joy, your dream, your truth. For if you keep hold of them, they make you, with this extra baggage, incapable of fitting through the eye of the needle, which is designed only, which is only big enough to allow the true you, the core you, the essential you through. Thus, if you find yourself having difficulty, resistance in the change, it is usually because you are still carrying things that don't belong to you and cannot fit through this infinitesimal eye of transition. Now, there are many, many, many symbols, many metaphors, many reflections that reflect to you the idea of the transitions you are going through, many different ways that you surround yourselves with reflections to reflect this idea to you, to symbolize this idea of having to let go of those things that don't belong to you. And another such symbol in terms of the synchronicity, in terms of the timing of what is going on, is the idea of the approach of comets to your planet. Long have your people understood that the idea of comets does represent omens, signs, information, and messages, but not because you are ruled from the outer worlds, the outer planets, the outer stars, but only because they reflect what is already going on in your collective consciousness in terms of your own timing of change within yourself. So you can look to the heavens for a reflection of the timing going on within you, not in the idea that these things cause the timings, cause the changes, but they are simply symbolic of the timing going on that you have already set aside for yourself. And thus the comets, similar to the notion of the eye of the needle and the letting go of the excess baggage, will be seen in their structure to break up, to give off their tails, as you say, to spew forth gases from their nucleus, to let go of those things that they cannot carry with them the closer and closer and closer that they approach to the primary light of the system, which is your central star. This is a very good analogy for the idea of the process you are all going through. The closer you get to the light, the more you must let go of those things that you cannot take with you in order to allow yourself to be stripped to the core and thus come to your closest approach possible to that source of light, the infinite light within yourself. Use this analogy wisely and recognize that there is no accident in the timing that you have had a precursor comet, that which you have named Hyakutake, that has passed and is passing, and that there is also the approach of the larger comet that you have named the Hailbach. These things symbolize the beginning of the transformation, your ability to get used to the idea more and more of letting go of those things that you don't really need to take with you, and thus then in the precursor comet, shall we say the minstrel comet, that which precedes the larger comet, it gives you time to get used to the idea of letting go. For when the larger comet comes, it symbolizes the great need to let go much faster, on much grander scale of those things that do not serve you, that do not belong to you, that are not representative of your truth and your core essential self. And represents, the larger comet does, a time of greater transition greater change, greater acceleration, which is, as we have just said, the process of letting go and allowing yourself to be more truly and only truly who and what you are. So in this passage through the eye of the needle, when you have stripped yourself down to the essential core and only allow yourself to take action upon those things that contain the essence and only the essence of your highest joy, then will you be capable of sliding smoothly through the eye of the needle with no impediment, with no resistance, and then expanding on the other side into a new you, wherein then only those things you brought with you through the eye will then expand to fill your reality, and on the other side of that gate there shall then be those things expanded that shall contain nothing but the essential frequencies of light and vibrational energy that are representative and reflective of the true and essential you. A symphony and an orchestration and a harmony of like vibration rather than the dissonance and cacophony that many of you are experiencing now by holding on to frequencies and tones that clash with your essential song. Let go of those dissonant notes, those vibrations that do not match the vibration in your heart of hearts. The reason they do not match is that they do not belong to you. You have perhaps acquired them on your journey of growth from other people, your parents, your peers, your society, and they perhaps at times have served you. But now you must stand on your own and mature as true adults by allowing yourself to choose, to have the ultimate responsibility of adults, to choose what you know is true for you and to let go of what you know is not. We thank you for allowing us to present to you this particular perspective this day of your time in this communication link through this gate. In return now for the gift that you are giving